Today, we're going to be reacting to some good and bad interviewing strategies. I'm Jen, a career coach and your go-to gal for all things career advice.
And I'm Gina, and hopefully we're going to help some people get their next job.
Welcome to Job Search Stories.
I have seen some wacky advice on social media. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
First, I want to show you this post from Reddit, and it's survey results from Fox News. The prompt for the survey says, during job interviews, employers say recent college graduates have struggled with eye contact, asked for unreasonable compensation, dressed inappropriately, used inappropriate language, refused to turn on their camera during a virtual interview, and brought a parent to their interview. And this is from December 2023, and I guess they surveyed 800 employers. Some of this stuff is very interesting.
When you see these first results where it's not making eye contact, giving unreasonable expectations for salary, I would say those are mistakes that a lot of people make.
Yeah.
It is really interesting that that last one is in there about bringing a parent to an interview.
I don't know. I think some of these are very subjective, and maybe that's just the youth in me trying to stick it to the man, but I just think dressing inappropriately, that's a little subjective. Struggling with eye contact, I hate looking people in the eye, subjective. Why do you think that these recent college grads struggle with these things?
So I think recent college graduates struggle with this because nobody really teaches them how to interview. If you're lucky and you go to a college with a career services office, there's usually some free resources there, but you're never really required to go. A lot of universities don't even have like an internship preparation course. So you're really on your own, and it's unfortunately, you kind of make some mistakes along the way before you learn the hard way that, oh, maybe I shouldn't be interviewing like that.
Even with career services, sometimes people don't even utilize it. Toxic of me to say this. I didn't. So I just use you. So I think a lot of college grads are not going to know that these things are seen as red flags to employers. How can someone prepare for their first interview when they don't know where to start?
There's some really basic things that you can do. One, be prepared to interview virtually or in person. So what that means is take a look at what the location is. If it's going to be a virtual interview, you're going to want to test your tech. You're going to want to make sure your mic and your camera works because they're probably going to want to see you. And if you're going to be in person, you want to make sure you plan your route. Next thing you want to do is actually practice some common interview questions. Tell me about yourself. Why do you want to work for this company? Just have a few answers prepared. That way you're feeling more confident going in. I think the next thing that you can do is really get to know the job description. Really understand what the employer is looking for, because this is what you're going to go back to and want to reiterate in your answers. So really pay attention to those skills and that previous experience and even the job duties, because if you've done that work in the past, or even if you haven't done it in the same industry, but you've done it in a club or with a student organization, volunteer work, you can still bring that experience in the interview questions because it's relevant to what they're looking for.
That makes sense. I think there's a lot of people who probably won't remember any of those things, but luckily for them, we have all those resources on our YouTube channel. So if they don't remember, they can just peruse our YouTube channel if they have an interview and they're preparing last minute.
There are a lot of videos that they can reference from us.
Oh, we got lots of them. So now I'm going to show you some interviewing strategies that I've seen on social media, and I want you to let me know if you think these are good or bad.
All right, let's hear them.
Does asking a follow-up question after answering interview questions make you look insecure or crazy?
Asking a follow-up question after you've answered the question does not always make you look insecure.
Right.
Sometimes you just want to know, is that what you were looking for? And if you're concerned that maybe it is making you look that way, ask the question before you even answer. You can always ask a clarifying question and say, is there something specific that you're looking for? Or would you mind rephrasing the question? That way you know, okay, I'm really understanding what they're looking for. As long as you're not asking, is that what you were looking for after every answer you give, you're totally fine.
I know when I interview people, I'd rather someone ask clarifying questions.
Absolutely.
I don't think that makes you look insecure or crazy.
Nah.
Here's the next one. Are short answers in an interview wrong? Which I think that's subjective, but go ahead.
Short answers in an interview aren't necessarily wrong because it really depends on the type of interview question you're being asked. One type of question is called a qualifier question. This might be someone asking you, have you worked in Excel? Or do you know Adobe Creative Suite? You can answer and just say, yes, I've been able to work with it for the past couple of years. You could elaborate and give an example, but you don't necessarily have to go right into it because it's typically going to be asked by the recruiter in the screening call. So they just want to know that you can do the work, that you have those skills, right?
Right.
Now, if you're asked a behavioral-based interview question, you might want to go a little bit longer. You're likely going to want to use the STAR method. So when you hear STAR, think of situation, task, action, and result. And that allows you to tell a concise story. So if you're thinking about how long the answer should be, you never really want to exceed 2 to 3 minutes for an interview answer.
It really depends on the interview question.
Absolutely.
Next one is, does asking questions during and after the interview make you look unprepared? Or should you always ask questions during and after the interview?
You should always ask questions during and after the interview.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make you look unprepared. It actually helps with the flow and makes it feel more like a conversation as opposed to just an interrogation. Asking those clarifying questions or asking a follow-up question, it shows engagement. And I would always recommend that you save a couple of questions for the end, 2 or 3, just to kind of wrap up the interview and make sure you have all the information you need to know to make sure that the role is right for you.
Do you have any questions for me? If I ask that question and someone says no, I'm like, oh, okay. It's awkward.
You're like, oh, really? You got all the information that you needed? An interview is a two-way street. You're not just the one being interviewed. You're interviewing them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it is really important for you to ask questions.
Make sure the job is right for you.
All right, Gina, you know that I love a game.
Yes.
So we're going to play one right now. We are going to thumbs up or thumbs down some interviewing advice that we found on Reddit. What do you want to call this game?
Let's call it Slay or Nay.
Ooh. Okay.
This Reddit user says, what's your best practical job interview tip? And the first comment says, I don't prepare for interviews at all. Slay or nay?
Nay.
Nay.
Nay, right?
Yeah, no. We prepare in different ways, but I think we both agree that you should prepare.
There's some level of preparation should take place if you're interviewing for a job.
Why is this a nay? Why is this a bad interview strategy?
Well, it's kind of like what we talked about before. I would consider this to be a bad interviewing strategy because preparation is one of the best tactics for alleviating interview anxiety. It's one way to make sure that you're coming across confident, that you feel prepared. So it really is setting you up for the best success within a job interview.
Agreed. Let's do the next one.
Let's do it.
I often ask at the end of the interview, is there anything that makes you think I might not be a fit for this role? Oh,
okay. I said nay.
I said slay. I said yes. I do think this could lean into seeming insecure. I do like this question to ask an interviewer. I don't see what's the harm in asking because why not?
I mostly agree with you. I don't think that there's any harm in asking if there's any more information that you could give. The issue is the phrasing.
Yeah.
I mean, just to hear, is there anything that makes you think I might not be a good fit for this role? That's very negative in tone. And so part of having a successful interview is leaving an interviewer with a positive impression of you.
Keep it light.
Keep it light, but even simply rephrasing how you ask this can still be really impactful. So you could simply ask, is there any more information that I could give that would help you know that I'm the right fit for this role? Or is there anything you would like me to elaborate on? It's a simple phrasing for me.
I agree.
Okay, Gina, here's the next comment. Write out a list of questions and bring it to the interview with you.
Slay.
We're slays.
Slaying.
Why would you say this is a slay?
Having a good list of questions that you want to even learn more about the role, about the company, about the compensation. That just shows that you're taking it seriously.
Gina, I couldn't have said it better myself, but I'm going to try. I'm just kidding.
No, but
Just
I learned so
kidding.
much from you, but you're the professional, so take it away.
No, you're so right. And again, it comes to the saying, and it really is more than just a saying. Interviewing is a two-way street. They have a list of questions that they have for you because they want to evaluate you as a candidate. You should have a list of questions questions for them because you're trying to evaluate them as an employer. Work is where we spend so much of our time. You want to make sure that you're picking the right place for you. All right, Gina, next comment. When they ask you if you have any questions, you can ask, what project would you put me on if I started work today?
Slay! You're saying nay. Jen says nay.
I'm saying nay.
I do think it's like a half and half though for me.
She's like one up, one down, thumbs up and thumbs down. How do you go like this?
Neutral, yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that just asking about what are some projects that your team is working on is a good question. Maybe not asking what projects I'd be working on today. That's kind of in the job description a little bit. Some companies do put that in there, but getting more clarity about projects that you would potentially be working on and what they're looking for in a candidate for those projects, I don't see why that's like a bad question to ask.
I would say this question is a nay just because it's not applicable to everyone.
Yeah.
Not everybody works in a project-based role.
Yeah.
The question I would ask would be something like, what would be something that I could accomplish within the first 90 days?
Yeah.
The general vein of this question, I think, is really around how do I show impact immediately?
Yeah.
And so whichever way you want to ask it that's relevant to your role in your industry, ask it. Now we're going to get into another question about psychological tricks.
Ooh. A Reddit user asks, anyone know or use any psychological tricks to get an upper edge in the job interview? Comment 1 says, yeah, smile a lot, upright posture, eye contact, positive self-talk beforehand and during the interview.
Okay, we're in agreement. We both said slay.
Sometimes we try to mitigate like physical aspects because I think it's different for everybody. I think this also could help, in a psychological way.
So this is actually a really great strategy, and it's often the number one psychological trick listed to help you in an interview. Rather than focusing on the physical aspects like making eye contact, what I would really encourage people to focus on is the positive self-talk, because that's really what's going to help you boost your confidence and make you feel like you're really ready and capable within an interview.
I feel like interviews literally are your time to just talk about yourself and hype yourself up.
Absolutely.
It's the one time you can brag about yourself and not seem like you're bragging about yourself.
I mean, you're just talking about all the great things that you've done.
Yeah, I agree. This one says, pressure the heck out of them. Tell them you have a hard deadline. I'm getting so much better at this. We both said nay. Nah, son. Why do you think that this is a bad interview strategy? You tell me.
For me, again, it's a lot in the phrasing. You shouldn't pressure the heck out of an employer, a hiring manager, recruiter, whoever you're talking to give them a hard deadline.
Yeah.
You can absolutely let them know if you're interviewing with other companies, if you've received a job offer and that is playing into your own personal timeline. But this idea of putting too much pressure can come off as aggressive. It's just something that you don't necessarily want to do. But being upfront about your timeline or your deadlines, that's perfectly fine. You're not trying to make a sale. I know it feels like, oh, I'm trying to sell myself in this situation, but that's a situation where that type of pressure tactic isn't necessarily applicable. You've got to do it in a professional way.
Do you feel like psychological tricks or whatever you want to call them actually play a part in the interview process?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human, right? And so we all have emotional responses to our surroundings. And so psychological tricks like positive self-talk or being really prepared can have a very positive impact on how you do in an interview.
What are some other psychological things that you would suggest to someone in an interview?
In terms of psychological tricks, there's kind of two main ones that I would suggest. The first one is to really have your elevator pitch nailed down. So when we think about what an elevator pitch is, this is where you can kind of confidently summarize your professional journey in about 30 seconds to 2 minutes. This is where you're going to tell the employer what you've been doing, why you're a good fit for this role, and how this role fits into your professional journey. Being able to have your elevator pitch down allows you to really answer, tell me about yourself. And again, that's the interview question that you're likely going to start off with. So it's a great way to set yourself up confidently. The second psychological trick I would recommend is actually to interview while you're currently employed. It is so much harder to interview when you're unemployed. And I understand sometimes you don't have the option. Sometimes you've found yourself in a position where you've been laid off or for whatever reason, you are experiencing unemployment. And so you obviously can't. You just have to interview in that position. But if you can, there's so much less pressure on yourself going into an interview when you kind of know you have that safety net already there.
This reminds me of that scene in Insecure where she is trying to look for people to hire at her job, Issa, and then she ends up interviewing for another job at the same time.
If you as an audience have not seen Insecure, definitely watch it. That show does a fantastic job of portraying how to job search in the right way. I mean, speaking of interviews, the whole scene with Lawrence practicing his interview questions in the mirror, what a tried and true interview strategy.
Yeah.
Definitely try it if you haven't already.
That is all the time we have. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Job Search Stories. If you have any more questions for us, make sure to leave a comment down below and make sure to watch more episodes of Job Search Stories on our YouTube channel, or you can listen to the audio on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And that's it. Bye.
Bye.
During job interviews, employers say
or thumbs down, interviewing advice, is being answer. Nope, you can't be an answer.
You're like, that was embarrassing.